Wow, that's really interesting. So the next question I have to ask you now, as a young person who wants to go into business in a country like Nigeria, you can see establishing a business in Nigeria here, growing it, starting from scratch, building it up. We have so many things that pull businesses down in Nigeria, not just Nigeria but in Africa. Things like high task rates, and favorable environment for businesses to thrive, and so other things like that. There are several factors like that. So, how can one boycott all these odds to build a business and start from scratch? Because, I do listen to people and they will be like, you don't have to run out of this country to go to another country for you to seek a greener pasture before prosper or succeed in your business. You have to start there. So, considering all these factors, how can I build my business and still succeed?
All right, so the factors actually affect business, no doubt about it. So, and it's not just,
Sorry.
so you just cut the space out. Okay. All right, so the factors affect business generally all over the world. It's not just in Nigeria. The factors are, however, different in Nigeria. So, you have the political factors. And one thing I also learned during my experience in entrepreneurship was marketing. So at a point I became very, very passionate about marketing because I saw that for any business to succeed, marketing was actually important to it. And one of the things that you will learn in marketing is you learn about there's a model that's called the Pestels model. So, and the idea is that in the external environment you have factors that would affect your business, and you cannot, because you're operating your business in that environment, in that community, you cannot run away from the realities of that society. So for instance, if you have a lot of poor people in your country, which you do have in Nigeria, that's a reality for businesses. So you cannot boycott that. There's no boycotting that. You have to plan it with your business. So you know that, the factors that are responsible that could affect your businesses. The wise thing to do as an entrepreneur is to understand those factors and work with those factors. So because those factors are actually out of your control. Of course, you have other factors that are within your control as a business person. So you want to start an idea, you are in control of the people that you recruit, for instance. You are in control of where you get your raw materials, for instance. You get, so those factors, your strength and your weaknesses, is what we call SWOT analysis. So you could analyze that, what you have strength in. But the competitors out there, that's an external thing that you have no control about.
Yeah.
So if you want to start selling coke, for instance, and they're selling coke for 100 naira, that is a reality for your business. You can, if you want to sell coke for 200 naira, then you have to factor in a lot of things because there's competition that is selling it less. So what is going to differentiate you that will make people want to buy a coke that's 200 naira? So that's a factor. Maybe you're going to have to work on your marketing, or maybe you want to focus on a particular segment or a particular sector of the market. So you have to understand the realities of your society, and the realities are different from America. I usually use this as an example. A lot of people would let me say, think of, let me just start selling KFC, for instance, or McDonald's in Nigeria, for instance, and then you go get the franchise, and maybe you go and you live in a place like, let me say, Ilorin, Kwara State, and then you get KFC to Ilorin, Kwara State. You now discover that you're selling maybe if something that would feed people for like 2,000 naira, or maybe 5,000 naira, for instance, maybe chicken and chips for 5,000 naira, and you now discover that a lot of people are not buying it. You discover that a lot of people are not buying it. You now wonder, like, okay, what is happening? What is happening is that you have people that are probably poorer than what you're offering, and that's a reality. So that's an external factor. So it's not just wise for you to say, this thing is fanciful, let me start selling KFC or whatever it is in Ilorin or Ogbomoso or Ibadan. What of the people that are living in those places? Can those people, largely speaking, can they afford it? If you're planning to target those kind of people, let me say the poor people, the poor masses. Do you really think they can afford that? Except you're not planning to target the poor masses. Now, if you're not planning to target the poor masses, the high end consumers that you're trying to target, are they enough to sustain the business? So these are things, these are questions, very sensitive questions that you have to answer. So you should not just go in your excitement or in your bias and be like, I want to sell this, and you're so excited about it, I just
And
go
then you
all
start
in,
it, yeah.
and then you start it, and then you not to call that there are realities that you even didn't put into consideration. And so it's wise for you to put those realities into consideration because they will help the business. And this is my own personal view. Nigeria is largest population are poor.
That's true.
It doesn't mean that you don't have rich population. So you probably will have them in places like Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. Maybe places more of them, maybe places like on the island in Lagos. You get so those communities. So like the place where you are selling your product matters, and this is part of marketing. The four P's of marketing talks about product, price, place before it comes to promotion. So all those things you have to put them into consideration. You want to start selling in a rich neighborhood, then you know that you can be able to increase your price a bit and then be able to afford it. You get. If you want to sell in a poor neighborhood and then you increase your price, you know that you're going to run into trouble.
Another question I would like to ask you is, if you know, business in Nigeria is very difficult to do. Penetrating business, for example, there's literally almost every business I want to do now has been done by several people in Nigeria. Some failed, some are still into it, some are about to start. So if I
Yeah.
want to start a business now, how will I penetrate the market without being affected and without with the ability of me to do well in the market, even for the fact that there's competition there and some other factors that are liable to draw me down.
Yeah, so that's another reality, and I totally get what you're saying. So on the one side, earlier on I said doing business and being an entrepreneur are two different things. Of course, there's a place where both of them connect, but basically, what entrepreneurship means is that you're solving a problem. So let me speak strictly as an entrepreneur. I will come back to the business part later. Strictly as an entrepreneur, you want to start a business, the smart thing for you to do is to see who are the people that are offering the same things as I want to offer in the market. Now, once you get that, you now be like, okay, what are they doing that isn't good enough for the consumers and the consumers need? So that's where the problem solving comes. You get so be like, oh, a lot of people are selling. Let me say, for instance, um, um, grocery stores, or let me say food store or something. A lot of people there's a lot of food store around. All of them are doing the same thing. Let me say you have experienced some pain. Let me say you go to the food store and be like, you always, whenever you go to the food store, you always buy stuff that you bring back home, and then you have to start processing again, and thereby wasting your time, and it really drives you crazy. You wouldn't mind paying somebody to help you pick the leaves of the vegetable, or dice the vegetable, maybe cut the fish and wash the fish and get it prepared for you, so that when you get home you just start working with it. Now, for instance, you could come and say, oh, this is something, I have the pain, maybe other consumers as well have the pain. What if I'm able to create a food store that solves this problem for people? So this is how differentiation comes in. So you're also running a food store, but it's different because you are responding to the pains, sincere pains that consumers have. You get. So, but then this one also, like, you have to be wise about this, because there are some times that you think consumers have a pain, maybe partly because you do, but then consumers are not willing to pay extra for the pain. You get. So that's another reality. But all these things you might have to like test them out. So maybe you go to a popular food store, get someone or maybe yourself, you start offering that service to people who come to buy stuff. They come to buy vegetable. Let me pick your vegetables for you. I will dice it for you for maybe 100 naira, 200 naira. They buy it and go. Let's wash your pepper for you and grind it for you. Let's do everything for you. Do this, and then you see that people are actually patronizing it. Now that's a smart way to to see that, oh, that idea actually makes sense. Now, if you're able to get more money, perhaps you could set up a food store that already does that, or probably has even packaged the vegetables. They've been plucked, they've been diced in bags. So consumers just come in and pick them and go. So consumers already know that this guy is different. So that's marketing. That is entrepreneurship. So that's differentiation. And it's one of the things that I also do. That's part of why I have taken so much interest in marketing, because I see that marketing is important for businesses to actually spring up, for new businesses, innovative businesses to spring up, and for businesses to grow. So I don't know, maybe if you are interested in probably knowing more, you could maybe give people my number if they want to reach out. So it's one of the things that help entrepreneurs to see that you need to not just do business like every other person is doing it. The problem is that when you do business like every other person is doing it, you have to be competing on price level.
Exactly.
So imagine that you're selling pure water. Your pure water cannot be more than 10 naira because you're not solving any real problem that is different from others. So if you put your pure water as 12 naira, people will be like, why do I need to buy your pure water when I can get another pure water for 10 naira? But if you're solving a problem, you're solving a problem that connects with the consumers, and you put it at 11 naira or 12 naira, now it starts to make more sense. Or I see why you're a little bit more expensive than others. So penetration starts with you knowing the realities of the market, what is obtainable in the market, what consumers need and they're not getting in the market and they're complaining about, how I can solve it, and if I'm able to solve it, to probably translate to a new business.
Okay. So before we conclude, I would like to ask you this question once again. Looking at the labor markets now, we have thousands of youths, if not millions, that are graduates that are in the labor market now seeking for a job that they couldn't find. So, if as a graduate now I want to go into business, looking at the situation of Nigeria and the way things are now, can you suggest to us like the type of businesses we could go in? Maybe you can just also mention some geographical areas that you know in Nigeria, some businesses we could eventually go into that at least we help us to be earning money and wouldn't cost us much. For example, maybe I have 100,000 naira, that is equivalent to um, let's say 100,000 naira though. I have it and I want to start a mini business. Like, what type of business can I start with that?
All right, so I'm generally not good with this kind of advice because I don't take such advices. And I think part of the reason is because maybe I'm more entrepreneurial than just business oriented. So business people are more, where can I make the money? They're more about the money, not necessarily about the problem solving. You get. So I don't know how to give ideas like this, or maybe give tips like this as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, I'm almost always inclined to say, what is the problem that you feel you can solve? If you cannot spot the problem, it will be hard for you to be an entrepreneur, which I'm talking mostly as an entrepreneur. But let me give it a short a bit as a business person, because of course at some point entrepreneurship and business connect, because ultimately you will need to make money. Even though you're solving a problem, you still have to make money. So businesses that you can do, I think I think it comes from like really observing
Okay.
around you. Because what is obtainable here around me would definitely be different from what is obtainable around you. So for instance, we are living in a student environment. So there was this guy that I met in UI, which I thought he was doing something really good. The market that is opposite the main entrance of the University of Ibadan, the guy would the guy would go get pepper and tomato or all this in the market, and then it would boil and then it would grind and put it inside nylon. So very similar to what I talked about the other time, but it was in the market as well. So you had other women who were selling tomato and pepper fresh like that. So this guy already did the work. So that guy is actually an entrepreneur. So he's not just doing business, because you could say people are actually buying pepper. Okay, why don't you just get pepper in bulk and start selling it? So that's business. That's how a business person will say, just look for opportunities and start selling. But I, being an entrepreneur, I would almost likely say, well, since everybody is selling pepper, and you see that when students go to buy pepper, after they buy pepper and tomato, they move to the next person or try to look for somebody who's grinding. So they take the pepper to someone who's grinding, and the person grinds for them, and then they take it home and then they start boiling. Okay, so like three steps now, they have to go through that. Okay, what if you're able to get the pepper and then you boil it in bulk, you grind it in bulk, and then you bag it and you increase the price a bit? So that's smart. That is, I don't think it was that much educated, but what he did was actually smart, and that was actually absolutely entrepreneurial because it was solving a problem that was creative.
Mm.
So like observe around you, look at people, look at the way people buy things. Observation. What are the pains they are going through to buy those things? And try to figure out how you can solve it. So maybe if somebody that is more business oriented, there are people like that. So I have a friend, probably know him, Kenny, business oriented. I just see something that I can sell right now. I know people will buy. So for people who are business oriented like that, they have the strength to sell, the strength to walk up to people. I'm buying this. You must buy. Oh, you must buy. Oh. It's buy. Okay, buy two, 3,000. Buy one, 2,000. But I will give you two for 3,000. So they're very proactive, they are outgoing, they can approach people, they're very confident to sell things to people like that. So know yourself as well. So I'm not sure I have that strength. I'm probably maybe still growing that strength or that capacity. So if I go do that kind of thing, it's going to affect me because I'll find it hard to like push products on people, to sell products to people. So the way I find it to be able to differentiate myself, that people will come to me, is I want to be like that boy in the market who has differentiated his products, so people go to meet him. So if you're like me, you probably should think about that. If you're very outgoing, very salesy, you can sell anything to anybody. We have people like that, and I really admire this skill. You can sell a pen that is 10 naira, can sell it at 100 naira. You have people like that, they are very skillful at it. So if you think that you are like that, you can pretty much pick any business around you and sell it.
All
So
right.